Buyers are swiping through photos of homes on Zillow, Redfin, and Trulia like they are swiping through life partners on Tinder, Bumble, and Match.com. They have attention deficit disorder, swiping through restaurants on Yelp. On the small screen, no one cares about your print ads that are huge in the local magazine. I mean, yeah, but that's not where they're looking. This is the remote control to their lives. Most agents just take the photos from the photographer in the order, they deliver them, and they just upload them. Who cares if the pool's the 44th photo? We lose them at photo 7. It is our job as the realtor to put buyers at the center of an aspirational story. This week, I am in San Diego for Tom Ferry's Elite Retreat, where I will be hosting a mastermind on selling luxury real estate. Watch this. Tom Ferry is the preeminent real estate coach internationally. I have been coaching with his organization for several years, and I am so excited that they have asked me to host a mastermind selling luxury real estate. This is gonna be awesome. I'm a little nervous, but I think we're gonna be okay once we're in the zone. Here we go. Thank you for coming out. This is a much larger group than I had expected. This is the first mastermind I've ever hosted in the Tom Ferry ecosystem, so thank you for all showing up. I literally thought like 6 people were gonna come. We're here to talk about, I believe, selling luxury real estate. And I just wanna point out that luxury is relative. Some of you in here, I see people post in the ecosystem, they're going in for their first $1 million listing appointment. To some of you, luxuries, 20 million, 30 million. I feel that the things I'm going to discuss transcend all asset classes. So this should apply. I love listing appointments. I love them. And I'll tell you something, being in Beverly Hills at the agency, I'm often against like 9 agents. I have people I meet with and they're like, we're meeting 9 agents. And I'm like, the fuck? For what?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
When you get a sales call from the robo-dialers and it's actually a person, they're like, hey, oh my God, it's your click right away. But if someone's in that late night DJ voice.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
You have a different response. You're like, whoa, who's this person? Do I know them? Maybe I'll give them a second to pitch. But the second you start searching, the second you kind of start to shake in your feet a little bit, it's hard for that person to trust you to represent their largest asset. So I just wanted to throw this card up here first. You have to believe it first. I did not grow up in Los Angeles. I grew up in Philadelphia. I built my business from hustle, from scratch. For those of you that are practicing business near where you grew up or where you grew up, you have no excuse because my market is insanely competitive, and if I'm doing it, you can too. And for the record, I'm not like there at the top of the mountain. I'm still rising too. Tom and Jay were constantly talking about preeminence in the marketplace. Preeminence, 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 just being known, being known. It really got me thinking because for the last few years, I have been working very, very hard. My numbers are triple crown as far as days on market, my sales price to list price. I think at one point, in a year, my sales price to list price was like 100%. I was crushing people in negotiation. And the truth of the matter is, in the tens of thousands of postcards I sent to the bird streets of Los Angeles, nobody gave a fuck. No one cared. No one cared. No one cared on the meetings. No one cared in these postcards. No one cared. So I started thinking about preeminence. I'm like, what is this preeminence? Preeminence. And then Jay made an example. He goes, Google my name. And like 78 million results came back. Then another agent in the room, we Googled her name, and she's like a high producer. You couldn't just get into this thing. Frankly, I don't know how I was allowed into it. And we Googled her name, and there was like 40 results. He was like, you're not preeminent. Started thinking more about preeminence. I can't rush being known through tenure. I have to just be on the planet longer. I have to be in the business longer. Then I looked at some of my colleagues who were on $1 million listing. And I'm like, are these guys that much better than me? I don't think so. I've been in deals with them. Are my founders that much better than me? Maybe in certain situations, but are they that much better where they should all have the lion's share of the business? We all know the answer, because I know you all know realtors in your marketplace that are terrible at execution. They're getting the job. But the difference is they're known. They are known. So I shifted my entire business strategy to being known. You have to start thinking about what is your value proposition versus the big agent who has preeminence, right? They're known. They're known. There's a few agents in LA, one in particular, she's been crushing real estate for 4 decades. She trades on her name. She is preeminent like a motherfucker. She's everywhere. She's on the freeway. I mean, I don't mean driving on the freeway. I mean, there's a sign up like this portion of the freeway sponsored by, she's everywhere. Here's the good news, guys. The way you win is by embracing the fact that you are not them. Everyone is so worried that, I'm not her, I'm not him in my market, I'm not them. Your lean in is that you're not them. That is your power, because many people, and as all of you have known, our job description has changed dramatically. Certainly in the last cycle, we have to be more technologically savvy. We have to be aware of our market. We have to get into the psychology of buyers. But the way to break into luxury, or this market that's the ceiling, is to start building leverage brick by brick. So let's talk about ways to build leverage brick by brick. And a lot of these are not rocket science, but I'll give you some case studies of my own. Affiliation. The easiest way to leverage credibility is through affiliation. I think it was a famous cartoon character who once said, if you can't beat them, join them. If there's any basketball fans in the room, you're recognizing this meme here. When someone calls my office and says it's, X calling from Aaron Kerman's office or Mauricio Umansky's office, I have a different response than when someone calls me from another company. And for the sellers in the high end that are sophisticated, that are tracking the market and watching, it works the same way. So this is the easiest way. If you really want it and you want it to happen quickly, you have to stop what you're doing and join the biggest team in town. It's the fastest way. The whole point of why I'm with the agency is so I can say, we sold the Playboy Mansion. They're like, the agency, what agency? Oh, we just sold Robert Lane for $75 million. A few syllables is instantaneous credibility. So this is the fastest way. Affiliate yourselves with the agents that are already doing it. They'll mentor you, make yourselves indispensable to them. Open houses. I once held an open house for a buddy of mine. The first people that came in, they weren't from LA. They were renting. They were waiting for a year to figure it out. That night, I got home. I think I had some wine or something like that, and I started waxing poetic about the different neighborhoods of the Hollywood Hills to them. They said, cool, this is amazing. I called them and I said, I know of one off-market property for you. I showed it to them and sold them the first place. It was, I think that house was $3 million. So holding opens is critical. The sky is the limit on the opens. Just by standing in there, when the buyers come in, instantaneous credibility. This is Mel B's house. I sold this from a cold call. I believe that expireds are the low-hanging fruit for where you want to go. I call expireds like a lunatic. Seriously. And my team has a scoreboard up. I could probably do a separate mastermind on expireds. This listing was with agents that were on TV. They had it for 2 years. They could not sell it. We applied our plan in my office, and we sold it in 60 days. Expireds are a great lean-in too. This listing right here, I just got signed from a letter. I use Remind. Remind's really cool, and it's super cheap. We send out handwritten letters every month. We track them. I pay someone 50 cents an envelope to handwrite the address. The letters are printed. They're mail merged and personalized. Hey, Tim, we have people that are, want to live on Robin Drive, whatever it may be. What's cool about Remind is I can turn to my assistant and go, okay, where are we mailing this month? She goes, Brentwood's next. I go, okay, cool. I want everyone that has at least an 8,000 square foot lot and has lived there for at least 10 years. This is my biggest listing to date. It's $7 million, and I got it from a letter, literally a letter. Back to preeminence. I have not played a hole of golf in my life until I turned 40 last year. After the Mastermind, how can I be more known? I took golf lessons. I now belong to a country club, and I try to get paired up with as many people I don't know there as possible.
It's all ears.
Philanthropy, I know a lot of people are involved in contribution. Contribution, especially in bigger cities, people are spending a ton of money, almost showing off. Another great place to get known. A mentor, when I first started, brought on a team member. I was part of that. Her grandmother passed away, and this was like 9 years, or maybe like 8 years ago or something, and the house was a complete teardown for $5 million. A disaster teardown in Brentwood Park. I said, this is a great opportunity because we have a lean in for her to door knock. Many were housekeepers who were speaking in Spanish. I can speak Spanish, but all you really need to know is like, can you come out and put this in the kitchen? And one of the neighbors from our door knocking session bought the house, and we double-ended it at 6%. All right, couple quick listing appointment tips. The seller needs to first hear that you are aligned. They need to see that you feel the same great things about the house. People hire who they like. This is why people's aunts and uncles that have just got their license 10 minutes ago get listings. They hire who they like. So you got to find ways to build rapport. The whole reason I ask for a tour at the beginning of a listing presentation is to look in their photos to see if we have common interests. Oh, you ski? Oh, you like wine? Whatever we can lean into together. If they like you, that's like 90% of it. It's the same with everyone. You got to ask questions. You are not learning anything while you're talking. Ask questions, as many as possible. A lot of agents get cocky. And they walk into listing appointments and they think that their value proposition is they are not afraid to tell you how shitty your house is. Man, do you have leverage on that. I'm not saying stick your head up their rear end, but I am saying remember, a house has an emotional attachment to it. It's not like a stock. If you can see the things that they see, man, are you in the game. You got to love on those houses. Don't tell them the negatives now. Tell them after they sign. You can't get a price reduction without a listing agreement. Be tactical when you're delivering the bad news. You have to go in and crush the seller. When you call to confirm the appointment time, remember to ask what's important so you can tailor the appointment to them. I did this on one with a team member of mine the other day. I called him. I was like, hey, we'll be there tomorrow too. Just really quick. Is there anything that's important to you that maybe the last agent didn't do? Anything? And he went on for like 15 minutes. He basically just gave us our listing presentation because he's not going to remember telling us that. When we get there, the entire listing presentation isn't going to be our generic presentation. It's going to be designed for him so he feels heard. Being a real estate agent and a seller is like being in a relationship. You know, I sometimes say that to sellers. Who do you want to be talking to every few days for the next 6 months? And lastly, guys, you're going to feel some desperation no matter what on those first couple big ones. The way you eliminate desperation is feeding your pipeline. If your pipeline is full, each deal does not matter. You are calm and you're in the pocket. When you're in the pocket, you're dangerous. Your job every day is to feed the pipeline. Sales cures all. I want you guys to start thinking about yourselves as an ad agency. Our job description has changed. Putting up average photos and a sign on a random day of the week and deploying hope as a strategy and expecting consistent success, those days are over. You have to be master advertisers, master marketers, thoughtful, intentional, deliberate with your launch, regularly auditing it. You have to have editorial grade photography, emotionally captivating video. You can't just do a long, boring tour, guys, for 5 minutes. We are in attention deficit disorder. Who's heard of Laurel Canyon? Okay, Laurel Canyon is a very unique part of the Hollywood Hills. Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Janis Joplin, they all wrote music there. We can't put the same music in the Laurel Canyon video. Can you imagine? Different buyer, different music. How do you not feel that song? If anyone did not have an emotional response to that song, please leave. We don't understand each other. All right, I got to give up the room, guys. Thank you all. Thank you. Oh my God, that felt good. I think I could maybe take this on tour. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. If there was anything that was exciting to you that you want to learn more about, put it in the comments below. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sending me questions. We're going to keep more free content coming your way.